Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Fall Youth Announcements. I'm Julia Smith, Senior Editor, Books for Youth at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Links to today's slides and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download these materials at any time by copying the URLs on this screen into your web browser. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Michael Plotz, Associate Marketing Manager at DK, Golda Rademacher, Library Sales and Marketing Director at W.W. Norton & Company, and Anna Erickson, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at The Creative Company. First, we'll hear from Michael Plotz. Michael is Associate Marketing Manager for Children's Titles at DK. He's been a member of the DK team for just under a year, but has been reading DK books since he discovered them in his elementary school library. Michael's favorite thing about his current role is being able to express his passion for children's books through creative marketing campaigns. In his free time, Michael enjoys yoga, television, and collecting picture books. Welcome, Michael. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say these days it's less yoga for me and more TV since quarantine started, so should update that bio, I guess. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be able to share this exciting list of titles with you today. The list includes both recently published books as well as some exciting things coming out in just a few short months. I hope you'll see some great new resources here to add to your collections in the coming months. And before I dive in, I wanted to mention that all books included in today's presentation, apart from just a few which I'll call out specifically when we get to them, are currently available in ebook format if the book has already published, or will be made available in ebook format at the same time as their physical formats if their publication date is yet to come. And now on to the books. First up, we have How Do I Feel, which encourages little readers ages 3 to 5 to explore their feelings. The book serves as an ideal introduction to key emotions: anger, pride, happiness, and sadness, portraying each one as an emoji-style character and describing some of the reasons we feel certain feelings and why our brains and bodies react the way they do. What's unique about this book is its simple and easy to understand approach to explaining emotions, as well as its clear, direct questions like why do we hide our faces when we're shy, and why do we draw pictures of our favorite things and show them to people, which stimulate discussion and guide young readers towards greater emotional understanding. From a little flame representing anger to a radiant sun for happiness, each page of this colorful board book features fun illustrations to keep kids engaged as they learn basic scientific facts about feelings through simple text that's ideal for reading aloud. This strongly visual approach to social emotional learning teaches young children what is happening in their bodies when they feel happy or sad, and how strong feelings can shape their actions. As part of this series, we have 4 accompanying board books, which each focus on one of the emotions highlighted in How Do I Feel? And focusing on one feeling per book allows us to home in on specific scenarios and examples where these emotions might arise, which lends itself really well to different teachable moments that might occur throughout a child's day. To start, we have I Feel Happy and I Feel Sad, which both debuted earlier this month. As you can see, these books are illustrated in the same bright palette and feature the same expressive characters as you'll find in How Do I Feel, which instantly gives these books a friendly, familiar feeling. And if you read a bit of the text in the images you see here, you'll find that same sentiment I mentioned earlier, which is that this series really is aiming to help young children identify different emotions, as well as talk openly about how and why they're feeling a certain way. And then coming out in October, we have the next 2 titles in the series, I Feel Angry and I Feel Proud. Now, looking at the slide, it might seem like we decided to pair a good emotion with a bad emotion to keep things balanced, which makes a certain kind of sense. But what readers will actually learn from these books is that there's no such thing as a good or bad emotion. Negative feelings like anger can be both powerful and productive, and even positive feelings like pride or happiness can be carried too far. As an example of that, in I Feel Proud, kids will learn how being proud of their own successes might lead them to become a little too boastful of those victories and make others feel bad about losing out. It's a thoughtful, well-balanced way to help young readers better manage their emotions. As I mentioned before, these two books were both published in October, while the first three books I showed you, How Do I Feel Happy, and I Feel Sad, are all available now. Next, we have three new titles in the DK Find Out series, which introduces children ages 6 through 9 to a range of exciting topics in a fun, engaging way. Two of these new books are already available, and those are Climate Change and Oceans, which both have timely information on sustainability and environmental activism. The other new title coming out is called DK Find Out Monuments of India, and it arrives in October. Each of the more than 30 titles in the series has been checked by specialist consultants and an educational expert, ensuring that they are not only a source of information you can trust, but one that is age appropriate and supportive of schoolwork. Ranging from core education topics to more specialized subjects like the histories of specific peoples and regions, or the biology of a unique group of animals, the DK Find Out series will inspire and delight kids. And here you can see a sample spread from Monuments of India. The mix of photos, diagrams, boxes, and bursts call attention to and make information easily digestible. This approach serves to interest both confident readers and reluctant readers who may be struggling, as well as visual learners. These high-quality images mixed in with chunks of text draw the child in, competing with the highly visual online world, and bring each subject to life in an exciting and approachable way. And just as a fun fact, each DK Find Out book contains over 200 full-color photographs. In addition to all of the great information and resources you'll find within these books, DK Find Out also has a series website where kids can learn even more facts about their favorite subjects. Towards the bottom of the page, you can see buttons that will allow kids to explore topics like animals and nature, coding, dinosaurs, and more. Adding even more educational value, there are a variety of short quizzes and informative videos here for kids to watch. All books in this series are listed out on the website as well, which makes it a great way to learn about all the topics that the series covers. Packed with age-appropriate information to explore, this free-to-use, child-safe website is the perfect resource for kids who have questions about the material they encounter while reading DK Find Out titles, or for anyone looking for a deeper dive into some of the subject matter covered in each book. In today's world, we know that libraries have become even more essential to a child's education, so we wanted to make sure everyone is familiar with and feels comfortable pointing kids to this free, reliable resource. Next, we have something very exciting and special. Just last month, we released the first two titles in a brand new fiction chapter book series for kids ages 7 through 9 called The Secret Explorers. The Secret Explorers are a group of 8 culturally diverse children from around the world who each have expertise in a different area like engineering or dinosaurs. These brilliant kids come together to fix problems, solve mysteries, and gather knowledge all over the planet and beyond. Whenever their help is needed, a special compass symbol appears on a door. They step through to the exploration station and receive their next mission. Now, even though the series is fiction, we couldn't stray too far from the traditional DK way, of course, so these books have a strong visual element and do teach nonfiction principles through their engaging and adventurous fictional stories. The title you see here, The Secret Explorers and the Comet Collision, teaches kids about space, while the next title, The Secret Explorers and the Lost Whales, teaches kids about ocean life and climate change. The interiors are black and white, but illustrations do appear throughout to help kids' imaginations along and help them to better engage with the story. And an added value, especially during this time of uncertainty of what the new school year will bring, each book includes end matter focusing on the nonfiction principles touched on in each story's mission, using both text and illustrations to do so. A glossary of key terms is also included. And I'll show you an example of that end matter section in just a few slides. And following on from those first two books, we have two new ones coming out in October, The Secret Explorers and the Tomb Robbers, and The Secret Explorers and the Jurassic Rescue. Tomb Robbers teaches kids about ancient Egypt, and this image is an example of that end matter content I mentioned earlier. Here you'll see drawings and descriptions of prominent gods and goddesses, while on other pages of the section, you'll find information on mummies, pyramids, and famous pharaohs. And finally, to round out the group, we have The Secret Explorers and The Jurassic Rescue, which teaches kids about, you guessed it, dinosaurs. One last exciting thing about this series before I move on, the audiobooks are being voiced by Alfred Enoch, who played Dean Thomas in the Harry Potter films and also starred on How to Get Away with Murder opposite Viola Davis. He is such a perfect fit for this fun, adventurous series, and we couldn't be happier. Next, we have DK Life Stories, which you may have seen before, but in case you haven't, allow me to introduce you to this biography series for kids ages 8 through 12. We currently have 14 different titles available in the series, and the next 2 to be released later this fall will feature Jesse Owens and Queen Elizabeth II, just in time for The Crown Season 3, which I think comes out in November. Going beyond the subjects of the books a little bit, let's talk about their contents. What really sets DK Life Stories apart is its unique mix of full-color photographs and hand-drawn illustrations, which work together to bring the stories of each extraordinary person to life. Maps and diagrams help place the information in context, while sidebars, footnotes, and full-page quotes add depth. On this spread here, you can see more of an illustrative style being used, and then on the next slide, you'll see an example of how these two storytelling elements, the photography and the illustrations, can work together to create visually compelling, information-rich spreads. Each book also has a handy reference section at the back, which includes a family tree of the subject, a quiz, timelines, glossaries, and an index. All text has been carefully leveled by leading literacy consultants to ensure it is age appropriate. And here you can see the whole DK Life Stories series grouped together. We've put a lot into these to make sure they stand out, are what children need, and most importantly, that they fill a hole in the shelf of your library. This modern biography series goes beyond the facts to tell the true life stories of history's most interesting people. All of these titles are available in both paperback and hardcover, as well as ebook editions. Here we have yet another new and exciting venture for DK, which is graphic novels. These have a nonfiction focus, of course, and are perfect for kids ages 9 through 12. Welcome to Corpse Talk, the talk show with a difference. All the guests are dead. Your host is comic book artist Adam Murphy, and he interviews 18 groundbreaking individuals from history in each book. These are the first 2 titles in the series, both available now: Corpse Talk Groundbreaking Scientists and Corpse Talk Groundbreaking Women. In Groundbreaking Scientists, kids will discover what happened to Galileo when he suggested that the Earth moves around the sun, and why Archimedes jumped out of his bath and ran through the streets shouting "Eureka!" Bold and expressive illustrations by Adam and Lisa Murphy bring historical events to life, literally, while humorous text makes learning about history and science fun. Full-page illustrations give more detail on the science and history behind the individual stories, and special features, including maps and diagrams, provide background and additional opportunity for learning. Inside this book, for example, you'll find a map of the solar system, an illustration of a butterfly's life cycle, and a diagram showing how the body fights infection. There's even a fun science experiment kids can try themselves. Also available now is Groundbreaking Women, in which kids will learn how Harriet Tubman managed to escape from slavery and helped so many others to do so, why Anne Frank was forced to go into hiding, and so much more. On the left side of the slide, you'll see a map sample from Groundbreaking Women, which illustrates Nellie Bly's 72-day journey around the world. This new graphic novel series will keep kids laughing as they learn, which is the best combination. Next year, we'll be adding to the series with books on rulers from around the world and famous rebels. Moving on from Corpse Talk, I know you'll be excited about this next one. Just out earlier this month is the newest title from Caldecott Medal-winning author and illustrator David McCulley, called Mammoth Science. David's trademark mammoths are back too, to explain science to kids ages 9 to 12. From the interior of an atom to the solar system and beyond, the mammoths seek to understand 70 different scientific principles across biology, chemistry, and physics, with one principle explored on each 2-page spread. These intrepid science demonstrators go to incredible lengths to educate and entertain, and often find themselves in a predicament. They wrestle with magnets to understand their powerful force, make mammoth models of different materials to explore what gives them mass, and step into an X-ray machine to reveal the bones beneath their woolly exteriors. Renowned for his ability to explain complex ideas with simple genius, Macaulay captures the oddball humor of his subject matter, making Mammoth Science the perfect introduction to scientific principles for the young and the young at heart, and a must-have for your collection as we head into a new school year. Next, we have Timelines of Everyone, which is a follow-up to 2018's Timelines of Everything, and focuses on the biographies of a myriad of movers and shakers across millennia, covering a diverse array of kings and queens, humanitarians, scientists, inventors, explorers, activists, writers, artists, and more from across the globe. More than 150 visual timelines take you on unforgettable journeys through the lives of the great, the terrible, and the overlooked people of world history. Covering over 5,000 years of human history, this book reveals not just the incredible achievements, contributions, and adventures of historical figures, but the lesser-known events that shaped them too, from childhood into old age. Get the inside track on the incredible lives of history's biggest names, from William Shakespeare to Oprah Winfrey, and Anne Frank to Julius Caesar. Filled with easy-to-understand timelines, vibrant illustrations, and a diverse range of influential people, Timelines of Everyone is the must-have guide to the world's must-know names. Next up is a timely title called Climate Emergency Atlas. This unique graphic approach to an all-too-familiar topic tells you everything you need to know about climate change and what we can do to turn things around. Packed with facts and figures and more than 30 dynamic maps, Climate Emergency Atlas is clear and easy to understand, making it the perfect introductory reference for all young climate activists ages 9 to 12. This book takes readers through the causes, effects, and possible solutions to the climate crisis, with chapters covering issues like waste, recycling, sustainability, and plastic pollution. Climate Emergency Atlas teaches all-around environmental expertise and answers a growing concern among young people by providing them with impactful knowledge to help improve the climate crisis. Another exciting new title and format for DK is the Renegades Arctic Meltdown, the first entry in a new graphic novel series tackling climate change that was originally developed as an online comic strip by students at King's College London. Written by young people for young people, this book cleverly interweaves startling climate facts with an exciting story about 3 intrepid superheroes who use their abilities to fight gigantic monsters and greedy corporations alike. In their first adventure, the Renegades must take on a massive beast known as the Methanor, who threatens the safety of the entire planet after awakening from its slumber beneath the Arctic ice. Besides an entertaining story, there's also a nonfiction section at the back of the book, so readers can explore the scientific concepts mentioned within. Energetic, optimistic, and informative, this series is perfect for readers ages 12 to 17 who want to learn more about the climate emergency, while also feeling empowered enough to do something about it. And lastly, to finish up today's presentation, I just wanted to quickly touch on some other exciting new releases you need to add to your list this fall if you don't have them already. First, DK has a new environmental series for the youngest readers called Eco Baby, which starts in September with Where Are You Tiger and Where Are You Polar Bear? Each book in the sustainably sourced Touch and Feel series takes you on a journey through a different landscape in search of an animal at risk of extinction. They're all completely plastic-free and completely recyclable. Now, at the beginning of my presentation, I told you I'd call out if a book did not have an ebook version available, and these 2 board books are the only ones I've shown you today that don't have ebooks. Everything that came before does have an ebook edition or will when the physical format publishes. And next on that top row, we have Fish, a beautifully illustrated picture book about ridding the ocean of plastic pollution. In this book, readers will meet Finn the fisherman and his dog Skip, who just want to catch a nice fish for dinner, but only seem to have luck catching other people's trash. With its lighthearted storyline and its uplifting message, Fish will inspire kids to think twice before throwing things away. And then moving on to the bottom row, first we have Mysteries of the Universe, which is a follow-up to an anthology of intriguing animals, and more recently, The Wonders of Nature. This book introduces readers to 100 objects from throughout the universe and keeps the same attractive features that have become series staples, including gold foil edges, a satin ribbon bookmark, and beautifully rich full-page photographs. And moving on to the next one, we have the National Parks, an ideal first introduction to the 62 national parks of the United States. Inside, colorful illustrations and photography highlight diverse plant and animal life from across the country. Readers will also uncover the natural features that make each national park truly special, from secret caves to endangered animal species to sleddable sand dunes. I think I just ran out of time, so I'm going to skip that last one and then just move on to the next slide, which has our social media info. And then the final slide, which has an Edelweiss link and also just a general email address if you'd like to reach out with comments or questions. And that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Next, we'll hear from Golda Rademacher. Golda started as a sales assistant at Norton 20 years ago. She is now the Director of Library Sales and Marketing, which seems appropriate considering both her parents were librarians. One of her fond summer memories is of helping her mom do inventory at her mom's high school library back in the card catalog days. You can find Golda on social media at WW Library, and she also sends out an email newsletter about books for kids and teens. Take it away, Golda.
Hi, everybody. Like Julia said, I'm Golda, and I'm the Library Sales and Marketing Director for Norton. Thank you all so much for joining in today. I hope that you're doing as well as you can be. Please feel free to email me with any questions. And then my next slide. Here I have a bunch of useful links, which of course you can't click on through the screen, but I hope that they will work when you download the slides. I hope you'll check out the Book Buzz video that I made for our ALA virtual booth to hear about books that came out earlier this year when everything was shut down. And I also plan to make some more videos for our Winter 21 titles that I couldn't all fit in this presentation. We have a lot of digital review copies on Edelweiss and NetGalley, and many of our authors are happy to do online events, so please send me an email if you have a proposal and I'll pass it on to the right publicist. So I'm starting with books from our imprint Norton Young Readers. The first couple are already available, and then I'll move into the not yet published titles. Women Win the Vote is out in time for the 100th anniversary of the passing of the 19th Amendment. Nancy Kennedy profiles 19 women with short biographies. Kennedy does not gloss over the racism and problematic ideas that some of the women had, but she keeps it age appropriate. And of course, there were more than 19 women involved in the suffrage movement, so the book includes a section at the back called And Don't Forget, which has shorter biographies of more women and even some men who were important to the cause. And there's a section on famous sites to visit, photos of the banners they carried, a timeline, and a full list of sources. We have received positive reviews from PW, SLJ, Booklist, and Kirkus. Weird, Wild, Amazing is the first children's book by the Australian biologist Tim Flannery. This is perfect for the kid that wants to dip in and out of a book. Flannery offers in-depth and often bizarre facts on animals that live in each habitat while incorporating concepts of climate change, evolution, conservation, and taxonomy. Did you know that lions once roamed North America? Or ever wondered how the sloth got its name? Have you ever heard of piranha bark? Packed with vibrant illustrations and guided by real-life experience, Weird, Wild, Amazing uses Flannery's mix of humor and wisdom to teach readers to cherish our planet's environment. Norton Young Readers published Mr. Nogginbody Gets a Hammer last fall, where the naive, ovoid hero of the story learned that you can't use the same tool to fix all your problems. And today is the publication date for the second book, Mr. Nogginbody and the Childish Child. In this one, Mr. Nogginbody is babysitting, and he should not be babysitting. David's usual sense of childish fun and humor is on full display here, and the hammer even makes a cameo appearance. He also makes great use of the page edges in his illustrations. And we posted a video of David Shannon reading Mr. Nogginbody Gets a Hammer on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel, so check that out if you have a chance. Katie Yamasaki is an artist and former teacher, and she has worked with people of all ages for years to help them tell their stories through murals. Her new book, written with Ian Lendler, Everything Naomi Loved, was inspired by a street in Brooklyn, though the city is not specified in the book. Naomi loves her friends and neighbors on her street and is worried when things start to change and people start moving away. Her neighbor, Mr. Ray, tells her about using art to remember the things we love, and Naomi paints a big mural of all her favorite things about the neighborhood as a way to honor it. So this has themes of resilience and caring for the community, and it is a good book for kids dealing with change, whether it's gentrification in their neighborhood or the more universal change of friends moving away. We have a video introduction to the book on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel, and you can see more of Katie's work at her website, katieyamasaki.com. Every Night is Pizza Night is by the chef and author of The Food Lab, Kenji Lopez-Alt, and illustrated by Gianna Ruggiero. Young Pippo thinks that pizza is the best food, and there's no reason to eat anything else. She has even conducted experiments to prove it. Pippo's parents beg her to try other foods, but she will not be swayed until her mother asks how she can really know if pizza is the best when she won't try anything else. So this sets Pippo off on a trip around the neighborhood, cooking with friends and their families from lots of different ethnic and regional backgrounds, and trying all sorts of dishes. And eventually she realizes that there are a lot of different kinds of best foods. And at the back of the book, we have a kid-friendly pizza recipe from Kenji. What a Lucky Day is a debut picture book by Jashar Awan, which looks at prejudice and stereotypes in a gentle manner. Stork is going fishing, but he runs across a black cat. Oh no, bad luck. He won't catch any fish now. The raccoon sees a frog on the pier. Oh no, now he's gonna get warts. But when all four animals come together and talk to each other, as this gentle, funny, and thoroughly satisfying picture book makes clear, they see that it's a mistake to judge others too quickly. And then at the back of the book, we have a couple pages explaining some of the origins of the stereotypes. Jashar Awan has also made some coloring and activity pages that we have available to download from our resources page. Moving over to YA fiction, Bearmouth is a darkly atmospheric debut novel about justice, independence, and resistance. It just won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize in the Best Book for Older Readers category, and it received a starred review from Kirkus. The narrator, Newt, is learning how to read and write, so the book is written with the distinctive idiosyncratic style that takes a minute to get used to, but once you get into it, you don't have any trouble understanding it. And it's also interesting to see how the spelling and grammar changes as the book goes on, because Newt is learning more. Newt has lived in the mine called Bearmouth since the age of 4 and accepts everything from the harsh working conditions to the brutality of the mine's leaders until the mysterious Devlin arrives and dares to ask the question, why? As tensions rise, Newt is soon looking at Bearmouth with a fresh perspective, challenging the system and setting in motion a chain of events that could destroy their entire world. Student Voice is an essay collection that was curated by the New York Times. Students will find mentor texts written by their peers from 13 to 18 years old on a wide range of topics, including social media, race, video games, lockdown, drills, immigration, tackle football, and the Me Too movement. The essays would also appeal to general readers, especially parents and others interested in the perspective of Generation Z students. And now I'm going to go a little faster through our Winter 21 titles, but I'll feature these in a forthcoming Book Buzz video and in the library newsletter, so watch out for that. Big Rig Rescue is the new picture book by Chris Gall, author of the Dino Truck series and many other titles. This book introduces readers to the big trucks that help rescue other big trucks like semi-trucks. And there is a narrative story that weaves in all of the interesting parts of the trucks. Nikki and Vera by Peter Cease. This is not the final cover, but we're getting close. Caldecott Award honoree Peter Cease tells the story of Nicholas Winton, who saved the lives of almost 700 children trapped in Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia. a story that remained unknown until an unforgettable TV appearance in the 1980s reunited him with some of the children he saved, including one named Vera, whose story is also told in this book. If you do an internet search for Nicholas Winton and That's Life, you can find a link to video clips on YouTube or on the BBC archives where Nicholas Winton was introduced to the now adult people that he had rescued, and you may want to keep your Kleenex box nearby. The Hatmakers is a debut middle grade fantasy novel by British actress Tamsin Merchant. It's a charming adventure about the importance of bravery, resourcefulness, and following your heart. In Merchant's alternate 18th century London, magic is real and is woven into objects created by the 5 maker families. When the enchantments woven into the carefully crafted goods of the guilds begin causing sudden inducements of rage and chaos, Cordelia must find out who is using the maker's creations for dark purposes and uncover the truth about her father's disappearance. And we should have digital arcs posted on Edelweiss and NetGalley soon. Dark Whispers is the second book in a series by Vashti Hardy. The first book, Bright Storm, came out in hardcover this past March and will be released in paperback in January. Dark Whispers expands the world building and adds more depth to the characters while still being full of adventure. Hunter's Choice by Trent Reedy is a middle grade novel that takes readers on Hunter's first hunt in the American wilderness and brings him face to face with the choice to kill or not to kill. Author Trent Reedy grew up in rural Iowa, is a U.S. Army vet, and has a lifetime of experience in the outdoors, so he knows what he's talking about. The Old Boat. This is the follow-up to The Old Truck by Jarrett and Jerome Pumphrey, which came out in January and got 7-starred reviews. In The Old Boat, they use the same stamp-making technique that they used in their first book. And there are similar themes of family over the generations, along with new themes of environmental awareness. We have a read aloud and a stamp-making video from the Pumphreys on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel. From a Whisper to a Rallying Cry by Paula Yu is a young adult nonfiction title that tells the story of the murder of Vincent Chin in Detroit in 1982, which brought the Asian American community to the streets in protest of injustice. Paula Yu has crafted a suspenseful, nuanced, and authoritative portrait of a pivotal moment in civil rights history and a man who became a symbol against hatred and racism. She will be a panelist at the School Library Journal Day of Dialogue on October 15th, so you'll get a chance to hear more from her. Tilbury House is one of the independent publishers that Norton distributes. They have a strong list of picture books, many that feature social emotional learning, and they also have some middle school titles. Magnificent Homespun Brown came out in January, and we completely sold out of the first printing. So the good news is that we have more copies coming into our warehouse next month. This lovely picture book got starred reviews from School Library Journal, Publishers Weekly, and Kirkus. I Am Darn Tough is a picture book that celebrates running, perseverance, and resilience, and really shows what it feels like to run a race. Kirkus calls it a tender introduction to the discipline and community that running provides its athletes. Have I Ever Told You Black Lives Matter by Shawnee King and illustrated by Bobby C. Martin. And this is not the final cover either. Celebrating Black accomplishments in music, art, literature, journalism, politics, law, science, entertainment, and sports, Shawnee King summons a magnificent historical and contemporary context for honoring the fortitude of Black role models who have achieved greatness despite the grinding political and social constraints on Black life. And I just found out that he will be a panelist at School Library Journal Day of Dialogue in October, so we can look forward to hearing more from him. Next, I have 2 books from Thames and Hudson USA, who have a wide range of books for children, mostly coming from the UK and Europe. So You Want to Be a Ninja is the 3rd book in a series. Each book is full of humorous illustrations and sprinkles a lot of factual information into the story of 3 friends who travel back in time, in this case to learn about ninjas. School Library Journal recommends the series for fans of science comics or Nathan Hale's Hazardous Tales. And there's a fourth book, So You Want to Be a Knight, scheduled for next April. Modern Art Explorer from Thames and Hudson is an introduction to modern art for ages 9 and up. There are reproductions of 30 famous pieces of art, along with informative commentary about each artist and their work. The starred review from Kirkus called it illuminating. This book becomes a lively tour conducted by a knowledgeable curator. And The Glass Menagerie from New Directions. I just wanted to remind you all about this high school edition that is available now. It includes extensive supplemental material that was put together by an experienced educator. And if you have any families that are looking for support for homeschooling or for supplemental education, you should check out the Well-Trained Mind Press. Founded by Susan Wise Bauer, the Well-Trained Mind Press has books and audio CDs that can be used as textbooks or for supplemental activities, and they have a lot of resources on their website for people with all levels of experience in teaching at home. So that was a lot of books. We have a lot more new titles coming out, and you can see more information on Edelweiss about each title, including sample illustrations and reviews. And again, I have more BookBuzz videos in my ALA virtual booth, and I will be posting more videos on the WW Norton YouTube channel this fall. So thank you all again for listening and for all your hard work during these difficult times.
Thank you so much, Golda. Our final panelist today will be Anna Erickson. Anna has worked in children's book publishing for over 25 years and is stubbornly convinced that all children deserve access to high-quality reading material. She is based in Oakland, California. Take it away, Anna.
Hi, thanks so much, Julia. Great to be here with everyone today. I'm going to talk about two programs, both series nonfiction, ranging from kindergarten all the way up to high school. And those are Creative Education from the Creative Company, as well as Amicus, which is one of our distributed publishers. So we'll kick it off with the fall program from Creative Education. Creative, as many of you probably know, is a company that has been publishing out of southern Minnesota since 1932, believe it or not. We are a third generation family-owned business, and we focus on series nonfiction as well as picture books. Everything we're going to look at today is available in hardcover, library-bound hardcover, paperback, and ebook, and you'll find all of the print detail in the spreadsheet that's available for download along with the slides. All right, starting out is one of Creative's single subject animal series for the youngest ones, for our kindergarten and first graders. And the lovely thing about this set is that it uses a first person perspective to take us through the initial months, maybe up to about the first year of an animal's life. So we kind of get the perspective of birth to viability. And it's all of the classic pieces of their life, how their family structure works, where they live, what they eat, with these wonderful photos and great little diagrams and the lovely first person text. Each one of these starting out titles has a link at the end of the book, so you can go online and hear the sound that the baby animal makes when they, and it looks like there's a little glitch with the covers on the slide here, but the photographs are fantastic and the baby animal sounds are wonderful. All right, Seedlings is a broad ranging program that we've been doing for several years now, and we do sets in a range of subjects in the Seedlings sub-imprint, and they cover animals, transportation, community life, and science. And they are distinguished by their very friendly approach to a full series nonfiction treatment. So even though these are books for 5, 6-year-olds with an average ATOS of 1.2, they each begin with a table of contents, they have full back matter, and they work in a very appealing and accessible fashion, but they are giving you all of those kind of key informational text features that are going to be a big part of your life as you progress from first grade all the way up through high school and beyond. Creative, as you'll see in everything that we're looking at here and our full catalog, this is a list that's really distinguished by high-end design, really careful image selection, and highly literary text. So from the youngest books, like starting out in seedlings, all the way up to the high school level, that's a common theme that runs through everything we do. I'm really pleased to say that all of our top sellers are now available in Spanish, both in hardcover and now in paperback. So we're pleased to broaden our range of books, not only in English, but Spanish as well. First Peoples is a low-level set that focuses on the numerous Native American peoples who thrived across North America. It gives us an overview of their daily life and culture. And features really approachable text as it works through each group's community structure, significant ceremonies and traditions, as well as their relationships to European settlers and the results of those interactions. Each of these books includes a traditional story, and it tells how contemporary Native Americans are working to keep those same traditions alive today. All right, and then moving on to one of our kind of keystone sets, Amazing Animals is a program we've been doing, again, for many years, and it had grown to over 100 animals. And this covers not only mammals, but also sea creatures, reptiles, birds, you name it. They are lovely, very large, open books for first and second graders. So this is a good example of a series where even if you were a third or possibly even a fourth grader who was reading below level, you could pick up one of these books and read it and not feel that there was anything babyish about it. These books do not patronize, which is one of the things I really appreciate about them. All of the Amazing Animals books, you see again, the very open layout of the pages. And they build extra information into the captions and the sidebars. And every one of them includes an animal tale at the end, an origin tale, traditionally told about that particular animal. So because this program had gotten so large, we've actually gone back to the beginning, and we're starting to revise and reissue the earliest titles with fresh content, brand new covers, new ISBNs. So these will bring them into current copyright for anybody who needs to make sure that their science titles are 3 years old or less. And again, these are also available in Spanish, and something's a little funky with the font on the slide, but they look just like the other books in English. Amazing is a brand that has now extended far beyond animals. It now includes not only things like transportation, but we've also moved into sports. So here we're using that very similar layout, really open, accessible text, lots of nice white space, a good look to the images. But this time we're focusing on a range of team sports. Instead of an animal story, there's a biographical profile at the end of each of these titles. And it covers both famous players as well as photos of kids who are playing each one of the sports in question. And then Amazing is even reaching into the paranormal, but of course it's doing it in quite an exquisite way. So I just love what they've done with some of these covers with the dragons and the mermaids, on unicorns. They're just really striking. The nice thing about computer generated art is the quality has gotten so much better, even in the last decade, that we can tackle a subject like this and include images that are kind of up to par with the rest of the creative lists. And you'll see that throughout this set. So this is where the nonfiction tackles subjects that are, folkloric and mythic, and having a little fun along the way. But the same principles of the Amazing series apply. Grow with Me. So Grow with Me is our life cycle program. And we've done a range of both plants and animals in the past. but this season we're zeroing in on 6 popular farm animals. Again, I love the image selections, the cow who's coming up to give you a kiss, and the charming little piggy here. These books are really written at a kind of 3rd to 4th grade level, and they take you through the full life cycle of each animal in question. They use the magnifying feature to bring you additional detail and zero in on particular bits of information. And there's a really unique feature at the end of each of these books. They do basically a summary of everything that you've just read throughout the 32 pages. They bring it down to a 1-page summary. So it's condensing and synthesizing a lot of information and rephrasing it in a summarized fashion. It's a great little feature. And we've even had teachers use these books as prompts for creative writing exercises. So the literary note kind of nature of the text kicks off other, opens up other possibilities and other doors. And I've always noted with that Grow With Me series that when I read those books, it's not like 1 page of information followed by another. There's a true through line. There's actually an arc in the nature of the text itself. Okay, we'll close out the creative portion of this presentation with our high school series, which is Odysseys. And Odysseys takes us all the way up to a much higher reading level. These are 80-page books, but they are still full color, and they still have that great look because we really think that, you know, the appetite for design does not end when you graduate from 8th grade. That continues throughout our, not only our educational experience, but hopefully far beyond into our adult lives. So the look of these books is spectacular. They're very crisp. It's a high level text, but they've taken some thought in terms of the placement of the text. So there's enough leading in between the lines so that it doesn't feel like a dense block of type. You know, you can actually navigate through that type. It doesn't feel like a college textbook. And the images continue to take equal weight with the text itself. You get even full page spreads that are purely image driven in addition to a combination. So in my opinion, I think there's some of the best looking high school books out there. And that Odysseys program, like many of the big brands that we publish, covers a range of topics. So this time we're dealing with technology, but in the past, these have included fine arts, English language, history, you name it. So it's a good broad ranging program for a variety of topics. Okay, now we will shift gears and finish up today with amicus. Amicus, the word means friend, and this is one of the most friendly lists I've ever had the pleasure to work with. Amicus focuses on low-level books for beginning readers from pre-K up to about grade 3. And you'll see that in the first series we'll look at, which is Spot. This is an ongoing program that covers a range of topics as well. And each one of the Spot books is built around a search and find framework. So even though they have a very low ATOS, each one of these Spot books is carefully written and leveled to be at a 1.0 ATOS or below, which is hard to do and still come up with a coherent text, as many of you know. These books do it, and they use that extra framework to really add another dimension to a very low-level reading experience. So the first set that we've got this season is Arctic Animals. And once again, Amicus, like Creative, really searches for good quality images and an integrated design. So each one of these books starts with asking the reader to identify 4 photographic details as they work their way through the text. And then at the end of each book, as you see in this slide, there's a little answer key. So if you have any trouble spotting the details, you won't go away frustrated. So we've got 6 Arctic animals, as well as a full 8 titles in an outdoor fun set, which is the same premise. Here's a sample of one of the initial spreads. So here's the 4 details that you're going to be looking for as you move through the book, and then a sample of the first page of the book itself. One of the things I love about Amicus that they're just really consistent on is being thoughtful about issues of diversity, and they are very careful in all forms of diversity, including gender, abilities, and race, to make sure that everything is equally weighted, even when the topic is just on something like outdoor sports. So we're looking to represent our readers as thoughtfully as possible in a really welcoming manner. So this is the outdoor fun set. Again, a great range of covers for a great range of outdoors activities, which will be ever so important as we move into another year of not being able to meet in person as often and needing outdoor outlets to get outside and breathe a little bit. And then the third spot program this season is the 6 holiday titles. So beautiful set of titles on major holidays that take us around the world using the friendly spot format. Okay, next we will move on to the high interest section. And Amicus's high interest books cover a range of topics from animals to sports. And indeed, we'll kick it off with a set of books that are here in preparation for what we hope will be the Summer Olympic Games scheduled currently to happen in Tokyo this summer, that were postponed from last summer. And the first Olympic series we've got is Paralympic Sports, which profiles sport at an elite level. And this is the main emphasis. This is elite level sport with players who happen to be competing with differing levels of ability. So I love that they really shine the light first and foremost on the intense level of the sports themselves, and then the disability is woven through it, but it doesn't start there. That's just a piece of it. It's not the driving direction of each of these books. So 4 titles in this set. And then there's also a set of 6 titles. This is a revised and updated set. So you may have seen this about 3 years ago, or actually for the last round of summer games. But this has now been brought fully up to date for this set of games with new participants, new text, everything ready to go for this Summer Olympics. And a lovely thing about, speaking of diversity, anytime Amicus does a sports set, you'll find that automatically half of the covers are women. It's just a given. Doesn't always happen even in today's publishing, but they're great about doing that. And just a quick note that this set is available in Spanish as well as English. Amicus's continuing favorite cat breeds includes 6 new cat breeds for this fall season, and gives you full introduction at that 2nd grade level, including identification guides, glossaries, recommended books, recommended websites, so you can explore what makes each of these breeds unique, including the beautiful Devon Rexes and their soft suede-like fur. And if you hear a small meowing underneath me, that's a special guest star for this particular set of the presentation. So 6 new favorite cat breeds. And then we'll round it out with Sequence, which is Amicus's program of books that use progressive timelines throughout every book in the series to talk about process, how things are made, how things are built. This is the Sequence program has covered things like how a bill becomes a law. They've got a wonderful set on U.S. government, including how we elect our public officials. So that's particularly timely for this season. But the new set for fall is Amazing Structures, and it digs into airports, highways, offshore oil rigs, and subways. And you'll see in each spread of these titles how one piece of the process builds on the one before it. So a series of small steps creates massive structures in this particular case with very specific jobs. All right, that brings us to a close for the fall season for Creative and Amicus. Thanks so much to Booklist for hosting today. It's great to be with everybody.
Thanks so much, Anna. And a huge thank you to all of today's wonderful panelists. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the Booklist Reader, where Booklist contributors post daily about all things books and library land. Did you know that Booklist content is freely available to all until September 30th? Start reading with our digital edition, a format that pairs the page-by-page reading experience of print with the convenience of online access at booklistonline.com. And lock in print, online, digital, and archive access by taking advantage of this special webinar offer to get Booklist for only $75. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and one more thank you to our sponsors, DK, Norton Young Readers, and the Creative Company. This concludes today's webinar.